Have you ever watched a room full of billionaires freeze in stunned silence? Not because of money, but because of the man holding the mop? Janitor. A quiet, black janitor who nobody noticed. Until the moment everything went wrong, and he became the only one who could save the day. This isn't just a story about language. It's a story about legacy, hidden brilliance, and the power of unseen kindness. The Manhattan skyline shimmered like glass fire that morning. Inside the 72nd floor of Halston Global Headquarters, CEO Preston Halston paced in front of a full conference room. Glass walls, chrome accents, billion-dollar view, and not a second to waste. He was about to close the most important deal of his career, a massive merger with Akshaya Technologies, India's fastest-growing AI firm. Cameras, board members, advisors, attorneys. Everyone was present, except one thing. The translator hadn't shown up. Preston's eyes darted across the room, panic inching into his perfect posture. His voice strained. "Where's the translator?" She was confirmed. "We have executives flying in from Mumbai. Do they speak English or not?" His assistant stammered. "Sir, the translator, she's in the hospital. Emergency. No backup found." And that's when the Indian delegation walked in, led by Mr. Anand Pradeep, the brilliant but English Limited CEO of Akshaya Technologies. The energy in the room shifted. Mr. Pradeep offered a respectful nod, speaking softly in Hindi to his team. Preston stood frozen. The presentation was filled with legal nuance, delicate terms, technical language. No way he could wing this. Silence thickened. Eyes darted. One board member whispered, "Maybe reschedule." "Reschedule?" Preston snapped, sweating now. "Do you know what it took to get them here? We'll lose the deal. We'll lose everything." That's when someone coughed from the back. Quiet, polite cough. The kind people ignore. But Preston turned, startled. It was the janitor. An older black man with tired eyes, neatly pressed overalls, and a mop resting at his side. Name tag read, Franklin. Franklin stepped forward gently. He didn't make eye contact at first, just adjusted his gloves. "Sir, if I may," he said. I speak Hindi." The room blinked. Preston stared. "You what?" Franklin cleared his throat. "Spent 10 years in India. Taught English. My wife, she was a diplomat. I learned enough to get by." Laughter bubbled from a young executive. Preston glared at him, then looked Franklin up and down. "This isn't get by. This is legal. This is corporate." Franklin stood still. "I understand, sir. But I've read the proposal. You left a copy in the break room last week. I've actually taken notes." Now the room was dead silent. "You read the contract." Preston's voice was low, almost mocking. "Yes, sir. And I corrected a few inconsistencies in Clause 6. Your AI patent timeline. It conflicts with the NDA terms from Section 2C. I think Mr. Pradeep will notice." Franklin then turned to the Indian team and respectfully greeted them, in flawless Hindi. He addressed them calmly, humbly. The delegates blinked, surprised. Then they smiled. Mr. Pradeep chuckled. "Who is this man?" he asked through Franklin. Franklin translated both ways. Smooth, clear, confident. And just like that, the room changed. The janitor became the bridge. As the meeting progressed, Franklin did more than translate. He understood. He explained complex cultural nuances that even Preston's lawyers had missed. He bridged gaps that had stalled for months. He wasn't just interpreting language. He was building trust. During a break, Mr. Pradeep pulled Franklin aside. "You speak like a professor," he said kindly. Franklin smiled. "I once was." "You taught?" "Yes. Linguistics. Back in the 80s. Howard University. But life happens." Mr. Pradeep's face softened. "Life?" he asked. Franklin's eyes misted. "Lost my wife. Cancer. Moved home. Took care of my sister's kids. Needed work. Cleaning paid the bills. That silence again. The silence that sees a man differently. Later, after the successful meeting concluded, Preston walked over. He looked at Franklin. Really looked. "You saved the deal," he said quietly. "And you did it with more grace than anyone I've ever hired." Franklin nodded humbly, about to return to his mop. But Preston stopped him. "Don't," he said. "You don't belong there. You belong at the table." He turned to his assistant. "Get him a contract. Full-time. Language and culture advisor. Triple his salary." Franklin froze. His lip trembled. "Sure. Clean floors." "I don't." Preston stepped closer. "You just taught a room full of millionaires what real value looks like." Franklin turned away for a moment, wiping his eye. A week later, Franklin was sitting in his modest apartment when a package arrived. No return address. Inside was a worn envelope. It was a letter from his late wife. She had written it years ago, knowing he might give up on his dreams. "Frank," it read, "there will come a day when your kindness and brilliance shine again. Don't forget who you are. And don't let the world forget either." Tears fell freely now. His story wasn't over. It was just beginning. Months passed. Franklin flourished. Traveled with Preston to India. Built cross-cultural programs for the company. Reconnected with old students who now taught around the world. But he didn't stop there. He started a small foundation, the Janitor's Language Bridge, offering scholarships for immigrant students and overlooked talent with bilingual skills. At every seminar, he told the story of that day in Manhattan, not to brag, but to remind everyone. You never know who's standing in the room. So next time you walk past someone holding a mop, look again. You might be passing a professor, poet, translator of hope. Franklin reminded a CEO, a company, and the world that brilliance doesn't wear a suit. Sometimes it wears overalls and carries a mop with quiet dignity. If this story moved you even a little, don't forget to share it with someone who needs a reminder of what real kindness looks like. Leave a comment below. Have you ever been underestimated? Or seen someone rise when nobody believed in them? And if you want more stories that restore your faith in humanity, subscribe, hit the bell icon, and watch the next one. We promise, it just might change the way you see the world.